Imagine your teenage daughter crying in a crowded market, surrounded by strangers calling her evil, heartless, and unchristian, all because she refused to please her dead father's parents. Now imagine those same people spreading lies about you in church, while hiding the ugliest truth of all: your husband was a serial cheater. Well, when my ex-in-laws tried to ruin my daughters and me, I decided to remind the whole church exactly who the real sinners were. If you've ever dreamed of watching karma slam down on people who think they're untouchable, hit that like button, subscribe, and get ready, because this is one of the most satisfying revenge stories you'll hear today. I'm a 46-year-old single mom of 2 girls, 17 and 15. Last year, my ex-husband died in an accident. But before anyone feels sympathy for him, let me tell you the truth. He was cheating on me. And not only did he cheat, he had 2 sons from his affair partner. When he died, she was gone too, leaving those boys orphaned. My daughters were the ones who first discovered his cheating. Imagine the trauma, finding out your dad had been living a double life, and then losing him, with all that anger unresolved. My girls were devastated, confused, and furious. We got them into therapy, but the wounds are deep. And instead of peace, my ex-husband's parents, my ex-in-laws, decided to make everything worse. They tried to take custody of my daughters and force the affair children into our home. They weren't asking, they were demanding. Like they thought I had no voice. We were already heading to court over custody, but what they tried pulling next, that was the last straw. One Saturday, I took my girls to the local farmer's market. It was special, my youngest's birthday. I gave her money, told her to enjoy herself, buy anything she wanted. She came back with sweets, chocolates, just being a kid. But after an hour, she didn't return. Panic set in. Just as I was about to call her, my phone rang. Her voice was trembling, broken. "Mom, some people cornered me. They're yelling at me." I grabbed my older daughter, heart racing, and ran. There she was, my 15-year-old, surrounded by 6 older church women. Faces twisted in judgment, spitting venom. They were berating her for refusing to be a good granddaughter to her father's parents and for not being a loving big sister to her poor orphan brothers. My daughter was crying, clutching her bag of candy like it was her only shield. I snapped. I shoved my eldest the money to pay for the sweets and told her, "Get your sister to the car." Then I turned to those women. My voice was shaking, but not from fear. From fury. "You have no right, and no right to speak to my daughter like that. You don't know her pain, her story, or what those people put us through." They sneered. One hissed, "You're a failure as a wife." A good Christian woman obeys her husband's parents. Christian wife. Obey. Even after he cheated? Even after he broke his vows? The yelling escalated until we were asked to leave the market. I gathered my daughters, walking past those vultures as they followed, still throwing their poison at me. But the war had just begun. That night, after my girls went to bed, I reached out to a church acquaintance. Someone I trusted. He apologized for what happened, but then he dropped the bomb. My ex-mother-in-law had gone nuclear on Facebook. She wrote this massive sob story in their church group, painting herself and her husband as helpless, penniless, heartbroken grandparents. She said my daughters had abandoned them, that I was cruel, refusing to let them see their innocent orphan grandsons. She even claimed the affair children weren't from cheating at all, but from a surrogate, because I couldn't give my husband sons. And to twist the knife further, she accused my daughters of being heartless, blaming them for making their father's last days miserable. They got sympathy, pity, support. People rallied around them, whispering about how cruel I was. But what my ex-mother-in-law forgot, this church may have blind spots, but cheating? Cheating is their cardinal sin. And I had evidence. I stared at my computer that night, seething. My body trembled. My chest burned. My girls were asleep upstairs, innocent and broken, while their grandmother was turning them into villains for her own pity party. And I thought, enough. They want to play dirty? Let's see how their congregation feels about the truth. Because here's what they didn't know. My divorce paperwork was unfinished when my ex died. Meaning, I had no legal restrictions. And I had everything. Pictures of him and his affair partner kissing in our living room. Texts between them. Messages from his parents supporting his cheating. Screenshots of them calling my daughters bastards and blaming them for his death. This wasn't just proof. This was a weapon. The next day, I went to a print shop. I paid extra. Oh yes, extra. For every photo, every text, every email to be printed in crystal clear, glossy color. Then I went home, sat at my dining table, and crafted binders. Dozens of them. I made them look like church hymn packets, the kind you pick up at the back for service. Neat, professional, innocent. But when you opened it, the very first page showed my ex, tongue down his affair partner's throat, right there in our living room. Underneath, ex-husband's name plus affair partner's name, a love story. Each binder was packed with receipts, texts of him confessing, his parents condoning, and the cruelest of all, messages where they told my daughters they were the reason their father died. Every page was a dagger, and I made sure the handles were sharp enough for the whole church to grab. That Sunday, I slipped those binders onto the desk with the hymn books. Nobody checks them. People just pick and go. And then, I waited. The gossip mill didn't just buzz, it exploded. Within hours, the Facebook group was on fire. The names they called my ex and his mistress? So vicious the pastor had to intervene to keep the language PG. The congregation turned on my ex-in-laws too. Outrage over how they harassed my daughters. People whispering, how could they protect cheating? How could they blame children? My daughters got apology letters. Handwritten. Members inviting them to come back, promising support. As for my ex-in-laws, they were humiliated. Shamed into leaving the very church they once used as their shield. My ex-mother-in-law posted one last pity cry online. No one cares for the elderly anymore. My son would have taken care of us if he was alive. Really? The same son who drained our finances, betrayed his vows, and left 2 families shattered? With what money? Exactly? For the first time in months, I felt something I hadn't felt in so long. Peace. Sometimes, revenge isn't about being cruel. It's about protecting the people you love. My daughters deserved justice. They deserved to see that lies don't win. And in the end, all it took was the truth, served cold, in full color, inside a church binder. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button and subscribe for more real-life revenge stories. And tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying moment of justice you've ever seen? I'd love to read your stories. Until next time, stay strong, and remember, karma always finds its way.